It's been a month since little Gus Lamont vanished from his family's Outback property in Wooltana, South Australia. A month of searching, a month of silence. But now, the silence has shifted. Because somewhere above that red earth, a drone quietly scanning the land once thought to hold no answers, has found something. A disturbance, a mark, a small, almost invisible clue near the Lamont homestead. What if the truth was never far away at all? What if it was there, hidden just beneath the surface, waiting for the right eyes or the right lens to finally see it? For weeks, hope has been replaced by heartbreak. But in the stillness of the Outback, one faint image has reignited a question too heavy to let go. What really happened to Gus Lamont? If you stand for truth, for justice, and for every missing voice that still deserves to be heard, like, share, and subscribe to Shadow Detective. Comment below where you're watching from, and tell us what you think this new discovery could mean. Because tonight, we're revisiting the ground everyone thought they already knew. And this time, the sky may finally have something to say. The Lamont property lies just outside Wooltana, a remote stretch of South Australia where the land meets the horizon in silence. It's the kind of place where time feels slower, where the wind moves the dust more often than people do. The terrain is harsh, open, and endless. Dry scrubland, scattered saltbush, and the faint sound of cicadas beneath the sun. It's a landscape both beautiful and unforgiving, the kind of vastness that reminds you just how small a single human life can seem. This is where 4-year-old Gus Lamont was last seen. A quiet afternoon, an ordinary day that became the start of something extraordinary in its tragedy. Family, friends, and neighbors searched every inch of the property. Police and volunteers combed through the land for days. Drones, horses, thermal imaging, line searches, all focused around a 6-kilometer radius from the Lamont home. To outsiders, it's hard to grasp just how empty and open this part of Australia is. The red soil swallows footprints quickly. The heat distorts vision. In every direction, the land looks the same, a maze without walls. But locals know, even in the emptiest places, things don't just disappear. Something remains, a clue, a trace, a whisper in the dust. And now, as investigators turn their attention once again to the property itself, one question lingers. Was the answer always right here, waiting beneath the surface? Because in the Australian Outback, even silence can hide something. It was an ordinary spring day on the Lamont property. Calm skies, a soft wind rolling across the paddocks. According to police reports, Gus Lamont was last seen playing near the homestead, sometime in the late morning. A curious child, full of energy, familiar with the land that surrounded him. But somewhere between those moments of routine and the next call of his name, Gus was gone. The alarm was raised quickly. Family members searched the property, calling his name into the wind, expecting to see a small figure running back toward home. When that didn't happen, the calls grew louder, then desperate. And soon after, the first emergency call was made. Within hours, the area was swarming with movement. Police, volunteers, neighbors, all combing through the dry brush and thick scrub. Drones scanned overhead. Foot patrols swept in straight lines, their fluorescent vests small against the red horizon. Every shadow was examined, every creek bed checked. But as daylight faded, so did hope. Night fell on the Wooltana plains, and the first real fear began to set in that a 4-year-old boy, alone and unprotected in the Australian Outback, might not survive the cold or the dark. Searchers pushed on through the night. Helicopters used thermal imaging. Locals offered water, food, and headlights to keep the search going. By dawn, no trace had been found. No footprints, no scent, no items of clothing, nothing. That absence became the shape of the mystery. Because if Gus had wandered off, as many believed, there should have been something. But there wasn't. And as the days passed, confusion turned to unease. The search widened, theories multiplied, and a single question echoed louder with each passing hour. How does a child vanish from the safest place he knows, without leaving a single clue behind? For weeks, the ground gave no answers. But now, as new drone footage begins to circulate, the air above that same soil may be telling a different story. Because the land might not have spoken yet, but the sky just might. A month after the official search was scaled back, the story of Gus Lamont took an unexpected turn. What began as another quiet week in Wooltana changed, when new footage, captured by a privately operated drone, surfaced online. At first, it seemed unremarkable. Just a series of sweeping shots over familiar terrain, the same dry soil, the same saltbush, the same expanse that had already been searched. But as investigators and digital analysts slowed the footage down, something caught their attention. Near the edge of the Lamont property, just beyond a patch of fencing, rarely mentioned in earlier reports, a faint disturbance in the ground appeared. A subtle difference in color, a shift in texture. Almost invisible at full speed, but distinct enough to stand out when viewed frame by frame. It wasn't proof, it wasn't even confirmation, but it was something. Experts say the change could indicate a range of things, from natural erosion, to animal burrowing, to human disturbance. Still, what made it stand out was its location, an area within the original 6-kilometer search radius, but slightly outside the main grid that was combed during the first week. Investigators haven't released any official statement confirming what, if anything, has been found there. But quietly, several reports suggest that police have returned to the site for follow-up analysis, this time with enhanced imaging and updated mapping software. It's a small lead, but in a case like this, small leads matter. Because sometimes all it takes is a single missed detail. A footprint in soft soil, a reflection from metal, a piece of disturbed earth, to rewrite what we thought we knew. For weeks, the Outback has been silent. Now technology is breaking that silence. And if this drone footage truly shows what some believe it might, then the question is no longer just where Gus went. It becomes what was overlooked right beneath our feet. Because as one investigator quietly put it, the land wasn't the only thing hiding something. As news of the drone discovery spread, so did speculation. Online forums, podcasts, and even retired investigators began weighing in on what the footage could mean, and whether this could finally mark a turning point in the Gus Lamont investigation. 3 main theories have emerged, each with its own set of believers, and its own quiet contradictions. The first is the accidental theory, that Gus wandered off farther than anyone expected, possibly disoriented by the landscape. According to this view, the drone may have captured a natural depression in the soil, one created by wildlife or erosion, that simply appears suspicious. But those who worked on the original search argue otherwise. If the child had walked that far, he would have left behind evidence, footprints, discarded clothing, a scent trail. None of that was ever found. The second theory is the overlooked clue, that search teams may have unintentionally bypassed this small section of land. Search maps from the early days show that the focus areas were plotted around natural landmarks and access points. But the disturbance caught by the drone sits just outside those primary zones, close enough to be familiar, but far enough to be missed. Some experts believe the anomaly could mark a simple oversight. Others think it might represent something far more deliberate. And that leads to the third theory, deliberate concealment. The idea that the drone detected a site where the ground had been disturbed intentionally. It's an unsettling possibility, and one that police have not commented on publicly. But those who followed the case closely point out the eerie coincidence. The spot sits not far from one of the property's older outbuildings, a structure that has drawn quiet interest since the early stages of the investigation. Each theory fits a piece of the puzzle, yet none explain the full picture. Why no physical evidence? Why no confirmed sightings? Why, even with modern technology, has nothing concrete emerged? The Australian outback is vast, but it's also precise. It remembers disturbance. It keeps history beneath its surface. So if this drone image truly reveals something unusual, then what has been resting under that red soil all this time? Each theory answers something, but none explain everything. Behind the headlines and speculation lies the human story, one that began long before drones and theories. The Lamont family has lived through a month of heartbreak few can imagine. Days that blend into nights, and nights that offer no rest. Every sound, every shadow, becomes a question: could it be him? Friends describe Gus as bright, curious, and fearless, the kind of child who loved to follow the family dogs and explore the red soil around the homestead. For his parents, those memories have become a painful contrast to the silence that now hangs over their property. Reports early in the case hinted at tension within the family, particularly between Gus's father and grandmother. An argument overheard and later discussed by neighbors became a brief focus of online speculation. But police have never confirmed that it played any role in Gus's disappearance. It remains what it always was, background noise to a tragedy already heavy enough. For investigators, the case has taken its toll as well. Weeks of searching, endless interviews, long hours under a relentless sun, all without resolution. Many of those who volunteered say they still replay those days in their minds, wondering if they missed something, if they walked past the very spot where the truth still lies. The Outback has a way of humbling even the most determined. It tests patience, and it erases evidence. But it also carries the weight of every unanswered question, a collective grief that settles over communities like dust after the wind. For the Lamont family, time hasn't moved forward. The world has, the coverage has, the public interest comes and goes. But for a mother still waiting, and a family still hoping, each sunrise feels like the same day all over again. And now, as this new discovery renews attention, hope and fear once again coexist. Because if the drone's footage does lead somewhere, it might bring closure, or it might reveal truths no one is ready to face. For those still waiting, time hasn't moved at all. In the days following the drone discovery, investigators maintained silence. No official statement, no confirmation, just a single phrase repeated by a police spokesperson. Analysis is ongoing. But the footage itself tells a story. It shows an object, buried deep, untouched by weather or wildlife, too regular to be natural, too close to the homestead to be random. And though authorities haven't confirmed what it is, for many following the case, the implications are chilling. Could this be the clue everyone missed? The reason scent dogs never picked up a trail beyond the property. The answer that was, quite literally, beneath their feet all along. Experts who reviewed the footage believe it's possible that what drones found was part of a buried structure or discarded equipment connected to the house's foundation. And if that proves true, it could reopen every assumption about how and where Gus vanished. Because from the very beginning, the theory that he simply wandered off never sat right with everyone. 6 kilometers of open terrain, and not a single trace. No scent, no clothing, no small footprint in the sand. Even experienced trackers admitted, it doesn't fit the pattern. So what if this wasn't just a missing person case? What if the truth has been waiting, hidden, in the one place everyone thought they had already searched? As we wait for official updates, one thing is certain: this discovery has reignited hope, debate, and perhaps the chance for closure. If the clue beneath the surface turns out to be what many now suspect, it could finally answer the question haunting an entire nation: what really happened to little Gus Lamont? Because sometimes in the vast silence of the Outback, the truth doesn't disappear. It just waits for the right light, the right angle, the right eye in the sky to finally see it. What do you think about the new drone discovery? Was this the missing piece everyone overlooked, or another false lead in a trail gone cold? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you've been following the Gus Lamont case, tell me where you're watching from. Your perspective might help shed new light on this mystery. Don't forget to like this video, share it with others who've been searching for answers, and subscribe to Shadow Detective for more fact-driven true crime investigations that go beyond the headlines. Because the story isn't over, and the next clue might already be waiting to be found.